And we're maybe live. Okay, excellent. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. Share screen, share, and just to make sure that I can see all of the comments. Awesome. Okay, so first and foremost, welcome to the first week of this Burnout series. There are already some technical glitches, but we're gonna make it through. So my name is Dawn, and I am the founder of Become Coaching, and we are, for the next 5 weeks, going to lead a Burnout series for 30 minutes every Monday, starting at 6. And let's go ahead and jump into it. So first of all, why are we here? You deserve true work-life balance. This whole series is intended to reduce stress, to reduce overwhelm, to help you have work that funds your life. I want you to have supportive relationships, more energy, clarity, and freedom, and more times to do the things that you love with the people that matter the most. And so if you're watching the replay, or if you're here on Facebook or on Zoom, if you could please drop in the chat your name. So if you want to say hi, and tell me one thing that's on your bucket list. So we'll just wait for those to come in. So again, your name and then one thing that is on your bucket list. One thing that's on my bucket list that's been there since I was a kid is I want to roast s'mores over lava. I don't even care if you can actually eat it, but that sounded really fun. So my story, yes, running a half marathon. So my background is in education, and I know I don't have to tell you or anyone else that there is a mass exodus of educators right now. We are overworked and underpaid, like a lot of other folks in other industries too. So when I tried to decide what to do apart from that, which had been my dream job, I went back to school for social work so that I could learn how to do nonprofit management and help people work through some of the challenges that I had worked through. But because I had not done that inner work, I found myself doing 2 masters at the same time, which is really dumb, and taking care of a parent and working and doing an internship. I feel like sometimes we get addicted to working too hard to keep from feeling or being present in our lives, because facing the terminal illness of a family member was not something that I wanted to deal with. And so I dove into my work and I dove into my classes to give myself something else to think about. So this is my love letter to you. It's everything that I've learned over the past 6 to 8 years condensed into 5 weeks. It's only the best stuff. It's only the stuff that I've researched, that I've actually tried myself, and I've seen it work. And that is because you deserve the best. So over the next 5 weeks, this is what we'll cover. Today, we're going to talk about immediate relief. What are some steps that I can take today to feel better, and at the end of every working day? Next week, we're going to talk about biohacking burnout. We're going to look at the lowest hanging fruit, pun intended, to help us feel better, have more energy, have more mental clarity without necessarily getting into the deep and heavy stuff of mindset shifts, which is coming next. So part of reclaiming our time is reclaiming our time from other folks who might be taking stuff from us that we're not ready to give, but maybe, I don't know if there are any other people pleasers on the line. That's certainly one of my challenges, wanting to be everything for everyone and not leaving anything left for myself. So then we're going to go into time optimization. What does it mean to live within your zone of genius? And then week 5 is going to be realigning to our sense of purpose, because if you are doing what gets you out of bed in the morning, whether that's for money or whether it's your job that funds that life that you want, that is what is going to ultimately re-energize you. And that's the final step in recovering from burnout. And then a bonus, if you attend all 5 weeks, we'll do a free strategy session together for personalized support. So have no fear if you miss this session and do the replay, it'll still count. We'll work it out. I'm having trouble seeing all of the chats in one spot. So here we go. All right, so what are we doing today? I want you guys to reconnect to what it looks like to have a life without burnout. Sometimes we get to a spot where it's just, we just want it to stop. I know when I was teaching, when I was at the height of my burnout, all I could do was just go home and crash on the couch. Even if I had more grading to do, even if I had more lessons to do, I had just given it all and put it all out on the court, as it were. So we're going to take a second to envision what life will be like without burnout, because we need something to work towards instead of something to avoid. Small other example, when I was a lifeguard, you could tell kids not to run all day, but they're going to skip, they're going to hop, they're going to find all sorts of ways to get to where they're going really fast, which is what they wanted to do to begin with. So if I give them something to do, walk please, then you have a clear vision of what we want in our lives, and that is a lot easier to work towards than just avoiding something that we don't want. We're going to talk about what is burnout, because the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, does not identify burnout as a condition, as a problem, but the World Health Organization does. We're going to talk about what are some of the other diagnoses that burnout looks a lot like, and determine for ourselves what is burnout for us, or what is burnout in our lives. Then we're going to talk about what can we do today? What are some action steps that you can take right now to feel better? And then, of course, I wouldn't be a teacher without giving you some homework. So I'm going to give you a couple of small things that you can do to make your life easier and better. And as it says here, we want to create systems, not goals. If you make a goal, it's always just a little bit farther than where you are. And I want you to be okay today. So we're going to create some systems and solid habits in order to help create a life that is not burnt out. What is it that you want on the other side of this? So, the miracle question. Suppose tonight, while you're sleeping, a miracle happens, and the problems that brought you here are solved, or the problems that created your burnout are solved. But because you were asleep, you didn't know that the miracle occurred. What would be the first small sign that you'd notice that would make you think that things had changed for the better? What would be different? Can you post something in the comments or in the chat if you're here with us on Zoom about how you would know that you had recovered from burnout? And while you're thinking, I'll tell you that for me, it took months and months to finally feel like I had a little bit of energy. Honestly, I saw fewer gray hairs. I had more energy in the afternoon. I actually felt like getting up and going for a walk. So it was definitely more energy, more clarity, and I could see the impact of chronic stress alleviating from my body, like literally in terms of gray hairs and wrinkles and all of that stuff that we know that chronic stress causes. So yes, not waking up tired. And there is this common theme of just having more energy, more time to think, more energy to think, and to just be a whole person without getting your words mixed up, which I've noticed that I do a lot, especially when I'm under periods of stress. So all of these are really great ideas. So what I want you to do now is to think on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you currently? We're not going to spend too much time on this because energy flows where focus goes. But when it comes to your financial situation, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your health and fitness, I want you to think about on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best and 1 being the worst, where are you at right now? And then after we take a second to think about this, what we really want to focus on is what does a 10 look like? So not just, oh, I'm a 5 on partner and love. What does a 10 look like? What would it look like to fully show up in my relationship as a full human being who is not burdened by chronic stress? What does it look like to hang out with my family and friends? How often do I see them? What about with my community? Am I participating in events? Am I going to networking events? Am I going to festivals and fun things? Like this weekend, there was a food truck festival in Raleigh. Your environment is kind of like your home environment, not necessarily like the woods. Am I investing in my hobbies, fun and recreation? What habits am I doing to promote my health and fitness? So for me, that's definitely doing some sort of workout a couple of times a day as opposed to like a 2-hour session at the gym. That's just not for me. What does your career and work look like? What does your connection to something bigger than yourself look like? And your connection to your finances. So again, here, we want to build systems, not goals. We don't want to say, oh, I'll go to 5 networking events this month to promote my career. We want, I'm connecting to people, or I am finding folks who have similar interests or similar businesses, and we are supporting each other. So it's thinking about how these things are intertwined and interconnected. So what is burnout and why is it not considered a disorder in the diagnostical statistical manual? So burnout looks a lot like depression and anxiety. It's not similar to chronic stress because that diagnosis is more related to a specific traumatic event that's happened. But all of the ones in white are the ones that are shared between all 3. So for depression, it's the loss of interest and pleasure in almost all activities. This is what burnout is most likely to be diagnosed as. Feeling a sense of tiredness, fatigue, low energy. You're not as efficient at routine tasks. I would say that the sense of worthlessness is also tied in here because there's a lot of sense of like, I'm not achieving my professional goals or the professional goals that I wanted to achieve. It causes trouble with your important relationships and areas of work because you just don't have it in you to put what you would like to into your work or into your important relationships. The excessive worry, but also fatigue at the same time, that's characteristic of anxiety. The irritability, especially with your coworkers, the muscle tension, the trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, all of those are aspects of anxiety and they can manifest in burnout as well. But the difference with burnout is that it results from chronic workplace stress. So instead of chronic stress, like there's nothing stressful going on in the world right now, right? This is specific for your job. The emotional depletion and exhaustion, reduced sense of personal accomplishment, overwhelming fatigue, loss of motivation, the cynical view of one's job, a sense of ineffectiveness or failure. And then something that's not on this list that's also characteristic of burnout is this sense of like, ooh, I can't stand my coworkers. So all of the people that you work with are also getting on your nerves. You just really don't want to hear it from them or build relationships with them either. So what can we do today to feel better? Part of this is completing the stress cycle. So there's a fantastic book called Burnout by 2 sisters. This book is fantastic. And what they talk about is unlocking the stress cycle. So your body cannot tell the difference between your boss and a lion. And so what we want to do is tap into those biological centers in your body and in your brain to trigger that the stressor is over and has finished. So especially after a particularly stressful day at work, or if you have things going on in your personal life that are just like absolutely depleting you, or you're frustrated beyond what you can imagine, there are 7 ways to complete the stress cycle that we'll talk about today. So the first thing is physical activity. This is anything that you enjoy that gets your heart rate up, ideally outside. Slow, deep breathing. You literally change your brain chemistry with your breath. So there's something called square breathing. So you exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then exhale and repeat. Positive social interaction. Studies show that venting to someone does not actually make you feel better. It's making you relive the stressful thing that happened that you're venting about. It's a positive social interaction or venting about something in a way that is solutions focused that helps you move past the stressor and feeling bad in your body. I can see this on myself if I get frustrated about something at work and I'm venting to my partner or venting to my friends. I will actually like start to look more tired and feel more tired. It's not energizing and it doesn't actually do anything for you. So this is casual but friendly social interaction, and it reminds your limbic system that the world is a safe place. Next, we have laughter. Laughter makes and maintains social bonds. It helps regulate emotions, and it does help your body realize like, oh, okay, I'm safe enough to laugh about this. I'm safe enough to recognize that the stressor has passed. Affection, so connecting with a loving and beloved person with whom you share mutual respect and trust. So doing a 20-second hug with someone that you trust, or any sort of like other kind of affection with a loved one. But the person that you feel safe with is what makes this different. A big cry. So I think there was a really great quote that was like, salt water heals everything, whether it's the ocean or tears, or I can't even remember what the last one is. And then I love this poem: if the ocean can calm itself, so can you. We are both salt water mixed with air. Crying is also a really great release and can help you feel better. And so finally, the last part of completing the stress cycle is creative expression. So it creates the context that tolerates and encourages big emotions. That's why we sometimes feel better after seeing someone else's shared experience, or reading a novel, or seeing art where we can see these big emotions put into some sort of creative container. This leads to more energy, more excitement, more enthusiasm. And so those are the 7 ways to complete the stress cycle: physical activity. Oh, and they're ranked. So if you want the biggest bang for your buck, do these in order. So some sort of physical activity. There's a lot of really great apps for exercise. A lot of them came out during the pandemic as well, especially when gyms were closed and that kind of thing. My favorite one is 7M. So it's like a little 7-minute exercise, because I just cannot be bothered to go to the gym for an hour or 2 hours. It just, it seems bigger than it is in my head, and I just can't. And so doing a 7-minute exercise from that app, or a YouTube video, there's tons of little 10-minute exercises just to get moving. A walk in the sun also helps. Stacking all of these helps too. So you don't have to just do a physical activity and then do a breathing exercise and then have a positive social interaction. You can totally call up a friend, go outside and go for a walk, because that will get your breath going too. And here you've hit 3 in one go. So, so again, first physical activity, so that your body can like stop running away from your mental lions. Slow, deep breathing, positive social interaction, laughter, affection, a big cry, and creative expression. And again, bonus points for as many of these as you can stack as possible. So, our homework. I would like to invite you to try the daily 7. Just for the next week, and then we're going to come back and see how it goes. So 7 minutes of movement, 7 minutes of stretching, 7 minutes of deep breathing, 7 glasses of water, because Lord knows we did not drink enough of that, 7 hours of rest, 7 moments of connection, and 7 minutes of laughter, play, and or creativity. So I know that I've said to try all 7, but if there's one that you're excited to try to add to your routine that you have not added so far, can you please drop that in the comments or in the chat? Because I'd love to hear what you're going to be up to. And I invite you to find an accountability buddy in the chat as well. So what are you committed to do this week? And it's just 7 minutes. In the whole week, we can do that, especially if you can stack. Deep breathing, excellent. Let me check Facebook, see if anybody's over there. I'm gonna try to move more. I got a Fitbit that I obviously never wear, but it's a really great reminder to get up at least once an hour and move. So yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the 7-minute workouts or the 10-minute workouts. And then I will commit to going for a walk at least twice a week. So I believe that is it for our slides. So does anyone have any questions, any comments, things that you would like to see over the next couple of weeks as we dive into burnout recovery? I would like to see technology that works so that we can actually live stream and make sure that it's that it's going on live. So just waiting for any comments, any questions or thoughts about what we can do for the next couple of weeks, things that you'd like to dive into. And for folks who are watching the replay, I'm going to post this on YouTube once I can figure out how. And so I will definitely be looking at those between now and the next class. And if you would like additional support, I invite you to come and join us on Zoom. We'll be spending the next half an hour deep diving into what does this look like for you and your life. If you don't have time to do some of these things, or if you've tried it and they haven't worked for you, we can problem solve all of those on Zoom together. So I think that's it for the comments. So I look forward to seeing what you post between now and next week. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share and stop the live stream. But thank you all so much for joining us. And again, shoot me an email, write me a comment, and I'll be reading these between now and next week. And we'll see you soon. Bye.